Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 189.
Hey.
What?
So you
What
said
did I do?
So you said you were hitting record.
I did hit record.
Yeah, but you said that like 3 or 4 times before, so I didn't know if you actually did or not.
I did it this time.
I don't believe you.
It's running. I can see the countdown.
Do you want to know why I know you haven't hit record yet?
Why is that? Because I haven't cursed?
Yeah, we're like 30 seconds in and you haven't said fuck once.
7 seconds in. Thank you very fucking much.
Plus the intro, excuse you.
Yeah, that's true. I would as well pass the algorithm at that point.
Yeah.
But there was we're past everything at this point in time, so fuck it. My wife decided to try to AI Google me, and when she did, it conflated me with another Logan Peterson spelled the same way that has a podcast, but his is about like mental health and like men getting into their feelings. And I was just like, that's interesting. And then she looked at his like podcast or whatever, and it had like a clean rating. And I'm like, oh, I would be livid if this show had a clean rating. I'd be so upset. She's like, well, I'm going to go check. And I'm like, And no, it was rated explicit, as it should be. But welcome to episode 189 of Flesh and Pod. My name's Logan. I'm your host. With me is the smoked out mess that is Darick Oswald. How's breathing today, buddy?
I mean, better than yesterday, but not by a lot, dude. I have been struggling. If you're not aware, California's got some wildfires going on, and when that happens occasionally,
I thought these were Canadian.
Here's the thing. It triggers my nostalgia. That's what it does. Because what it reminds me of, for you young folks, is there was a time when you would go into a restaurant and you would have a smoking section and a non-smoking section. And then when you sat in the non-smoking section, it was still a struggle to breathe because smoke doesn't care about sections or boundaries. And
right.
It turns out it also doesn't
Every
care about,
section was the smoking section.
National borders or anything like that. So,
well, I mean,
air quality's been awful. Everything's been hazy. It's been sunny days, but it looks like it's been, on the verge of raining because it's all just cloudy and dark, but it's all from the smoke. So, I was not feeling well yesterday. I still don't feel great today. I still have a headache, but I'm at least functional-ish. It doesn't hurt that yesterday I literally, I came home from work, I brought food home for the family, we ate, and then I laid down, and then I woke up to tell Logan, like, hey, I'm going to try this, and then we didn't, obviously.
He sounded real bad.
I sounded like Marge's sisters, is what I sounded like.
You did sound like Patty and Selma. It was pretty bad.
Today, I came home, we had dinner, and then I opened a Carbonite box of Star Wars Unlimited because I had ordered one and it finally arrived in the mail. And then I went to bed, and then I woke up. And so
you did open a serialized card, though.
I did open a serialized card, which made me very happy.
There you go. Yeah. If you haven't, you should like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We actually went live a few nights ago with Heiner and Fierat from PCG in Germany and White Rabbit Community Game Store, and they were opening the cases and gold packs and such from our casting German nationals, and we found some gas. It was fun. And
the Wii is doing heavy lifting there.
You did great.
I did well. I can't complain. It was just
be mad.
It was all on the back end, and the start was looking very one-sided.
It was. My start was real hot, and I was even magnanimous enough to let Charmer flip a coin to determine which person was opening for who. And Charmer had Heiner, and I had Fierat, and the first thing that Fiorat pops for me is a treasure conqueror of the high seas, and Charmer's just like, fuck me, of course. Of course. But we'll be doing more of that type of stuff here and there as the year progresses, kind of culminating into the episode 200 stuff, which is only in like 11 weeks. Like, that's not that far away.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, considering how it's fucking July, like mid-July at that, and I'm just like, what the shit? Where's the rest of the year at?
It really hit that July is basically over for me, because like when I was at the office today, I was trying to plan for some activities, because like tomorrow at my work, there's an event that's going to take like half the day or whatever. And so I was like, all right, well, that's kind of out the window. And so I was looking at what we could get done this week. And then I was like, all right, well, let's, plan on doing whatever next week. And then I was kindly reminded by other people, like, aren't you gone part of next week? Oh, yeah, I guess I am.
Right. And for me, it was somebody was like, okay, we can get together. We should get together and do this thing. And I'm like, yeah, we should definitely do that. And they're like, okay, what's your August look like? I'm like, it's pretty open. What about this weekend? No. What about this weekend? Also no. What about this weekend? You know what? Maybe August isn't really fucking open as I thought it was. This is the only weekend in August that's available. Sorry. And oops. So I was kind of shocked that a month that I thought was open is very much so not open. And then September is closed, just shut for business. There's nothing I can do in September outside of what's already scheduled, unless I can figure out how to clone and be in two places at once. So I'm just like looking at, the schedule of things I have coming up, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't get how I do this. So, yeah, but you'll have Star Wars Galactic Championships or whatever. Like in 2 weeks, not next weekend, but this coming weekend, the weekend after, right?
Yeah.
And then it's Gen Con, like the weekend after that.
So like I will fly to Vegas late Wednesday night of next week, come back Monday, and then go to work or whatever, be home for a couple of days, and then turn around, and Thursday night Stark and I will drive down for Gen Con. So yeah, that's why when I was doing that math at work, I was like, oh wait, like I have next week, and then essentially my July is over, because the rest will go by fast. There's just too much stuff going on. So
yep, and that's the same here. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess. And it's weird that I'm looking at calling Kansas City being, in 3 weeks or whatever, and Gen Con in basically 2 weeks. I think we leave 2 weeks from today, or is it 3 weeks from today? Like, what the fuck is today? Yeah, it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Yeah, we leave 2 weeks from tomorrow for Gen Con, and I'm just like, holy shit. Okay. Did not think that was coming up that fast, but here we are. I should have known, because my badge is like right there. I mean, I have it, and it's just anyway. We are still a flesh and blood show, kind of.
We are. That's why we were talking about Gen Con. I am actually going to play Flesh and Blood at Gen Con.
Wow. Really? What are you going to play?
Yeah. I've signed Stark and I up for at least one Crack Shuffle play event. I'm still on the fence. I really want to play in the Blitz on Sunday, but
Same.
It's hard because it's like the last day of the convention, and I don't want to plan something. Well, I guess I should say the hesitation is that I don't want to plan something where I'm going to be playing in it all day long, and then if Stark really wanted to do something that we like missed out on for the rest of the weekend, I would feel like a bad dad if like my selfish thing meant he didn't get to do what he wanted. So I haven't registered yet. I'm going back and forth. But Stark and I are at least playing in Crack Shuffle Play, and I'm trying to talk him into playing into one more event on Saturday, but we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. We did have 2 battle hardens on the weekend with some pretty big consequences. The first one was in Bucharest. It was won by Azalea Ivanov on Azalea, which, good night, our queen.
Yeah.
Good night. The cult is mourning the loss of their glorious leader, as Azalea has achieved living legend status, taking Death Dealer with her and Red in the Ledger and Knock the Death Whistle. That leaves one Arcane Rising hero standing, and it's fucking Kano. Now, Kano is the top of the living legend board right now. So we have hope that menace will be gone soon. But I thought that she was going to I thought she was going to Briar and hang out at $9.99 for like months. But yeah, she only stayed there for like a week and sailed off in the sunset. There was no video coverage, but rumor has it the kind of stuff of legends, like those apocryphal things that Avilo won on a blind flip, which would be absolutely poetic if it's true that the way that Azalea goes out is on a blind flip. And I just love that if that's the story, and if it's true, I really don't even care if it's true. I'm just going to say it's true because that's just perfect that Azalea goes out in the only way that she was really played for so long. But what do you think? What changes? Does anything change with Azalea gone? Like, is it really that impactful?
I think potentially there are some like subtle shifts. I don't think that it's going to be like a big meta sweeping change, but Azalea was in this interesting spot where she kind of was a guardian in disguise.
Sure.
She doesn't have the equipment,
doesn't block,
or doesn't want. I should say it this way, right? Like, she doesn't want to block most of the time, but for the most part, the game plan is the same in that, like, you're never going to do as much damage as your opponents, but you can do enough with disruption. And so you were really trying to target some of those aggressive decks at times and punish them, right? You know, if you can hit them with a Red in the Ledger. I mean, you and I called it during the German Nats, right? If you hit Red in the Ledger early enough and often enough, you can just kind of blow right through certain decks. And then we saw it happen once on the broadcast. So with her stepping out of the picture, the immediate thought is, okay, if you were somebody who wants to play that style of deck, Guardians make sense, and even more so with the Guardian Master Pack like right around the corner. That's when I expect the real surge. You might have some people who pick up Bravo or Victor or whatever in the interim because they can have that play style, but I really expect Azalea players, unless they're just a diehard Ranger, and I'll get to that in a second, but I would expect if you're just more interested in the play style as opposed to the hero or the class, Guardian Mastery Pack I think will reinvigorate some of those folks. Now, if you're somebody who just really likes the class, this is also where I would expect potentially more experimentation with Marlin to show up.
I think and Riptide, because aggro Riptide was already a thing.
Yeah, I know. It's called Let It Riptide. Mm-hmm. I talked about it like a year ago.
Yeah.
Of course, my version was bad on purpose, but... You
say that.
No, like, it was on purpose bad. I talked about if you don't want to wait for Greg's supercut, the gist of the original Let It Riptide was I literally said, hey, you know all those bad 0 for 3s that get go again if they come from Arsenal? Well, it turns out that like Riptide can just load those for free with a 0 ability. So I just built a deck that was just like Nimbleism plus bad go again deck, like where it was like play, play Nimbleism to load the, you know, performance bonus or whatever, and then attack with performance bonus with go again, play pump, shoot arrow, and then like that was all of your turns, right? It was just weaving them into everything. It is. Because it's like below rate most of the time, right? It's really none of those cards, with the exception maybe of performance bonus now, none of those cards really have meaningful on hits, let alone cover breakpoints because they're 0 for 3s. But it was fun. It was funny. So,
but then there's a good version, so you can just play the good version.
There's a good version. Good-ish.
Yeah, I think that the biggest impact is less warmongers diplomacies in people's lists. It's became kind of it's there for Azalea, a little bit for Vincent. I mean, even against Gravy, it doesn't really feel good. Anytime that I've played it into it. Now, granted, we have psychopaths here that are playing fatigue Gravy decks, which sure. And they're more than content to just say, okay, fine, I'll block with my entire hand, play a swabby, choose peace, play a swabby, gain a life, make you attack a swabby dead instead of attacking me. And it was 5 value off of 1 card, which sure, like I get it. But ultimately, I think that that's the biggest thing is you'll see less of that card in decks, which could have a big effect. But personally, she's kind of been fringy for a while now. She's always been good and could win an event, but was never like, oh, we can just pencil in an Azalea in the top 8 of every event. That hasn't been that way for a while now. But she's gone. I'm kind of sad to see her leave. I really enjoyed playing into Azaleas. Not because I won all of them, but because it's always just kind of a fun puzzle of, all right, is this, how can I efficiently stay above X amount of health so I just don't die? And when can I give up a piece of equipment that matters to try to cover something up? And Azalea's game plan was always face up. And I respect it for that.
Which is really funny considering it's a hero based around like arsenaling things face down.
Yeah.
And yet, you kind of always knew.
Yeah, you 100% always knew. There was a second battle hardened, this one in Kuala Lumpur, won by Evan Tanguy on Gravy Bones. So Gravy Bones picking up another win. This top 8 was an Azalea, 2 Gravy Bones, a Florian, a Slippy, a Dash IO, a Syndra, and 1 Arachne Marionette. So we did get both versions of Arachne that matter in this top 8. Listen, I'm right.
They all matter.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
No.
Arachne lives matter.
We just need to get you a better therapist. And the most notable thing, and I did watch this matchup, and so Gravy beat a Syndra in the finals.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, Gravy beat a Syndra in the finals. The Syndra, I think this, if I'm remembering the matchup correctly, and I watched it over twice because it's not that long. I think that the Syndra misread a turn off of the Gravy Bones player, and didn't think that they'd be able to do 3 things that turn. And they were able to do 3 things that turn, which forced the Syndra to block more efficiently. They were stuck with a card in Arsenal because of it that they just didn't want there. And truthfully, like they wound up giving up their flick knives when their opponent was at 1, mainly because there was a Sawbones on board. And so forcing damage through the Sawbones was already going to be very difficult regardless. And so it was a little awkward on the Syndra side of the board regardless. They were both at 1 at that point. So once you give, Gravy Bones back basically a hand of cards, it's very difficult to then block everything out and live through it. So hats off to Evan. I mean, played that matchup super well. And the Syndra player played great, and I think that it was just a bad sequence that happened and got him caught. I encourage you to watch it because it's very interesting. The concern here is something we talked about a month ago or so, where when US Nats was starting to pop up and Gravy Bones looked like it was going to be a very popular deck choice, but it had a natural predator. Now, if Gravy stops having natural predators because there are multiple ways to navigate matchups, that starts to get a little concerning. I don't think it's a cause for concern now by any stretch of the imagination. But with Gravy continuing to put up results, especially when it's usually in the hands of, very good players, the known good players, because I think the two Gravy Bones in this top 8 were Evan Tanguy, who's put up several results, and I believe the other one was Jacob Clemens. So, people that do really well in tournaments. So, and then you think back to the weekend before in Houston, where it was the finals was a Gravy Bones mirror between Michael Hamilton and Michael Fang. So once you start getting those wheels turning and it turns into kind of a best player type of thing, best player plays, good players play best deck, and that's the format. That starts to feel a little bit worse, but I don't think we're even close to there yet. But it will be worth monitoring. That's about it. Any other thoughts on that?
No, I'll have to go check it out. I'm kind of behind on a couple of viewing things. I haven't even watched last night's Raw yet, let alone the coverage. So
pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I expected it to be a good one after how outstanding Evolution was.
Man. The Rhea Io match was absurd.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen anything that good in a while.
As far as like the Flesh and Blood stuff goes, I think that it's one of those things where it can also just be tough to come to a conclusion this early based on sample sizes. Yes, sure. maybe some Gravy players have cracked the code, or maybe the matchup is just not an auto win, right?
Right.
I think part of the reason that it seems a little alarming is that, historically with the ally classes, most of their matchups are very polarizing, right? Mm-hmm. It's like 80-20. And so, like, yes, first of all, the 20% still happens 1 out of, 5 times. So not concerning, 20%, not concerning that it happened, but also, I think it's far healthier for the game when your good matchups are more like 60-40, and then player skill makes up for the rest. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if things are normally like 80-20, I'd rather see them be like a 60-40 that goes to a 70-30 with player skill or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so
I think that's a sweet spot that, LSS aims for in the game too.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just the ally classes inherently create, I'm not going to say design problems, but just more like a more complex puzzle to balance around, because if the core of the game is you have this 4-card hand and you have 1 action point a turn, right? That's the core. Now we know that there's plenty of classes that work around both of those things in various ways, but if that's your core and then you introduce something where something stays on the table, which A, has the potential to give you more than that 4 cards just by the nature of being there, but also B, requires your opponent to spend their action point to get rid of, well, then suddenly, like, you're going to polarize things, because it's, some classes are better at dealing with those things than others, and it's not even close.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I agree with you. One of the decks I think that has a chance at it, at being good into Gravy, quote unquote, because of on hits and a lot of other things, is Ira. And Ira got new toys. We talked about them briefly last week.
So I started kind of just like monkeying around with a couple of different builds on Talishar with Ira, and I think that you know, with Azalea going away as well, because that's another one of those heroes that potentially preyed on ones that go wide. I think that we could see quite a bit more Ira showing up in the future, and I think that we could see different versions.
You can also see Katsu, because that's like,
yeah, I've seen on Talishar some people playing Edge of Autumn Katsu, which is also
turns out Breaking Scales is a real fucking threat when it comes to a lot of these cards. They get buffed already.
Yeah.
So kind of easy to push over that one damage you need to trigger Katsu and then do stupid shit. So
right. But I will say this. Historically, Ira has just been arguably like the baseline for a mid-range style deck in Flesh and Blood, because the idea is you just maximize your value on every turn, because her game text just says I get a breakpoint once per turn, essentially, right? So old versions, obviously they were doing it with like Kodachis and Flick Flack, and you still also ran like Sink Belows or whatever, and then you'd run things like CNC or whatever that has a good on hit so that you can get that free breakpoint off of her game text. And I still think that those versions will be viable and might just also start to utilize some of the new tools. But what I really like about this Armory deck is not just, first of all, let me just say, seeing the list, this actually seems like the first Armory deck that is like
really
playable out of the box and does like well enough.
This one and Aurora's are the two that felt that way.
But so the other bit though is that I could see this giving us a more aggressive version of Ira, because the Scar Wraps are very good with Edge of Autumn. You're able to mix up the way that you deck build, because if you're no longer like banking on the Kodachis for the go again and you just need that one resource, it kind of gives you the freedom to do some things you didn't used to do. It also lends very cleanly to, like, you can still do mid-range, right? You can do something where, you know, you might block with a card and then Flick Flack, daring them to continue going. Most people will stop after a Flick Flack if they're trying to go wide, just because they're trying to not give you too much value. And then if you come back with your 2 cards and it's like a nice clean, I pitch a blue, I Edge of Autumn, I CNC for 7, like that's fine, right? But also with some of the new Vengeance cards and with Scar Wraps, you can also just push a lot of damage. The ability with the headpiece to also kind of become a mini Katsu, where like you can discard a card and go get a Whirling Mist Blossom to extend a turn is outstanding. I'm a huge fan of Give and Take being in this Armory deck.
Yeah,
because
that's a good ad.
Because not only is it perfect because it's basically getting you back anything you want from the discard pile, including those Whirling Mist Blossoms, but also it's again one of those cards outside, like everyone thinks of the Ira CNC because that has been the standard.
That's the standard
since CNC got printed.
Right.
But Give and Take is a great example of one of those other cards that benefits from the free breakpoint. Going from a 3 to a 4 on a Give and Take is such a big deal. And I love that. You get all the cool Vengeance interaction stuff with this. It's just a solid Armory deck, and I think that it gives Ira a lot of tools to finally feel like her own hero and have her own lane.
Has her own identity, certainly, with this. I still think that I think Whirling Mist Blossom's a little awkward. If I'm just going to be honest, I just don't know that it's I understand it's the Ira specialization, and that's probably why it was worthy of the inclusion. But in this deck, it feels like one of the lower powered cards, and it's it's a yellow. It blocks 2. It's a 1 cost for 2 power go again. Granted, it basically says on hit draw 2 cards, and it's a must block, but they just block it, right? And unless you've managed to whittle their entire hand down throughout a turn and that's your capper, it really doesn't get the job done on its own. Now, there are ways to pump it and put it over the top. And I think that is worth noting. It would be much it'd be much more palpable if it were a 0 cost in the deck, because of some of the things that are a little resource intensive. Exact Vengeance is resource intensive and also can't be Snapdragoned. You want to be paying 1 for your Bittering Thorns, which we finally get blue Bittering Thorns. And that's fantastic. And stuff like that. And you're also paying for your Edge of Autumns. The fact that you can flick Edge of Autumn is, fantastic with the Okana Scar Wraps. I think the Scar Wraps are great. I think that's just S tier fantastic. You just play everything with Vengeance in the deck. You even get the opportunity to say, okay, well, they're obviously blocking with anything they can to cover it. I can just flick with Scar Wraps to put it over the top and then just get Edge of Autumn back. Okay, that seems fine. Very happy about a lot of the setups here. I think Seek Vengeance is beautiful. That might be one of my favorite things in this set, is because it's just 0 for 4 go again in this deck.
That also blocks for 3 in a pinch, right?
Right.
So and then Enact Vengeance just gives you CNC 2.0, but also works with the Scar Wraps as well.
Yep. And so it lets you get back. Yeah, it lets you flick and get back.
So obviously, so this is the armory version of the deck, and yes, it has Razor Reflexes, but when you get to a ninja that might be running Ancestral or some other attack reactions, I think that's where Whirling Mist Blossom has the potential to shine. But I'll also say this, yes, they 9 times out of 10 they just block it out, but it's gonna be like a cold day in hell if you catch me only blocking with 3 on a Whirling Mist Blossom following an Edge of Autumn, because Legacy of Ikaru is also a thing.
So this is my favorite card in this armory deck.
Let me tell you, there's no way that I'm going to let them just go, oh, by the way, here's an attack reaction, and I draw 3 cards. I'm just...
Yeah. So Legacy of Ikaru is... I read this and I'm like, wait a second. I just get to play 6 Ancestral Empowerments? Cute. So this is a blue block 3, 0 cost ninja attack reaction. Target ninja attack, so it can pump an Edge of Autumn. Gets +1, and when this hits, if Edge of Autumn was the last attack this combat chain, draw a card. So it's not Ancestral Empowerment good, although this can pump a weapon attack. But it's a blue block 3 that's doing this, which is absolutely beautiful. And I'm like, okay, so you sold me here. You can do a lot of shenanigans with this card with Whirling Mist Blossom, especially if you were okay, block 3 or block 4, cover up what would be Akana Scar Wraps plus a Legacy of Ikaru or whatever, and then you're like, great, I also just have this, Ancestral Empowerment in hand anyway. All you have to do is hit for 1 with a Mist Blossom. That's all you have to do. And I also just love that they actually just put Flying Kick in the deck, because it's, the red one's a 2 for 7.
Yep.
That's pretty good, because it's almost always going to be Chain Link 3 or higher. Your play pattern is probably, pitch a blue for Edge of Autumn, play a Seek Vengeance or a Scar for a Scar behind it. And then, Flying Kick is your curve topper for 7 and make them have to block all this. I still think that you're probably just playing Mask of Momentum in this deck in most cases. But also, thank you for including Snatch, LSS. Thank you for including Snatch in this deck.
So that's the interesting thing, and that's why I'm so pseudo excited about what this Ira deck brings to the table. I could see legitimately builds that run Mask, Iris, or Lynx even, and I would not be surprised if we see lists that run 2 out of those 3. A lot of ninjas were already kind of on the Mask of Momentum, but for some matchups, Lynx anyway, because if the game goes too short, for example, you're not going to get the same value. If you know that you just want a big game ender, Lynx I actually think has the potential to almost be the go-to for an Edge of Autumn one anyway, because you're not always gonna be like Kodachi. Like, your chains might not be as long as often, and you're not flicking in the traditional sense, right? Yes, the Scar Wraps technically, like, they pseudo flick your Edge of Autumn and by, you know, giving a reaction or whatever, but it's not the same as flick knives, and, you know, the link isn't counting as hitting and so forth. So I could legitimately instead see a situation where you're just running links for either a big chain ender, or you're just running links for those turns when, you know, instead of Iris, where it's just like face up, hey, here's what I'm doing, but you just run their hand most of the way down, and then you just go get a Whirling Mist Blossom anyway, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that is again a play pattern that's available to you. Ultimately, I think I really like this deck. I love that we finally get Blue Bittering Thorns. That's been one of the things I've wanted for a while. This deck is probably 48 cards, correct? Somewhere in that general vicinity. There's not a ton of replacing you're going to do. And most of the replacements are going to be, I mean, yeah, you're going to put in things like Enlightened Strikes, and you're going to probably put in Command and Conquers. And like Give and Takes will probably stay, but they'll move to, you know, as part of the 75, or as part of the 80, but not as part of the necessarily the starting deck most of the time. It just kind of depends on the matchup, but there's so much room in this deck for just like market improvements up and down, without breaking the bank. And I can't remember for sure what the numbers are on this deck. I thought most everything was a 3 of. 2, 3, 4. So I think that most everything is a 3 of. There's only a couple of 2s, and I think the couple of 2s were just like, I think maybe it was Vengeance Never Rests. Let me see if I can find the full list here, because it is kind of important.
No, I'm pretty sure Vengeance is a 3 of, because that's a new card, and they usually do play sets.
Yeah.
Of the new stuff, because they don't want you to have to buy more than one.
They typically do.
Which Vengeance Never Rests is another card that I was like kind of excited about, because again, while the text isn't necessarily outstanding, it's just really good for a blue block 3. Like, it's a blue block 3 that has the potential to be like, I pitched a blue and I sent just this and Edge of Autumn and sent 8. Like,
right.
That's pretty good.
That does make sense. I'm not seeing it. I know that I've seen it before. I'm just going to quick Google search Armory deck, Ira deck list. Deck list. There it goes. It looks like your non-3 of is, it's Energy Potion, and
which makes sense.
Yeah, and it's only 2 Give and Takes. Great. Everything else is a 3 of. Yeah, this deck's great. Snap by if you find it. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I think it's really good. I think Ira will be really good for quite a while. But
so here's the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
What counts as her official release date?
Worlds last year. Yep.
Just because that's when it was available, and so.
Mm-hmm. So it'd be the Saturday of Worlds last year, because she was not legal for Worlds, but she was legal to play in the calling in Osaka, from what I remember.
Because that didn't used to be a thing that you cared about,
right.
But now with the modified LL points.
So she is still a 0.5 as of right now. But come November, she'll be a 1.0. Isn't it just nice that I gave you an anime Ira to play with? Because now you get to play with that.
Yeah, I just got to pick up one of these Armory decks and slap in what? CNC,
E-Strike.
probably Ancestral, probably
100%
E-Strike.
Ancestral.
And I feel like there's like some pretty common ninja stuff that I'm just missing for some reason, like mentally.
Sometimes I pick up my a stack of cards in my deck and I go, what the fuck? When did I get that? But I have my 20, what year was this? This is the 2018 Armory deck or intro deck, Edge of Autumns. So they're gold bordered. They're just not foil. So that definitely goes in my Ira deck.
You know what would be kind of a funny thing to do to somebody?
What's that?
All right, hear me out.
I'm hearing you out.
What if you run you run daggers in your inventory for when you scar wraps your Edge of Autumn away, but then you connect with a concealed blade and just equip daggers?
You equip Kadachis?
Yeah.
I mean, you could. Nothing says you can't.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to get rid of them in order to re-equip
That
your
was
edge.
the one I was trying to... I was like, I know I'm forgetting one that's like almost always a pretty common one. Ancestral Harmony probably belongs in the list.
I don't know that it does. There isn't a ton of cards with combo.
I mean, all of the Vengeance stuff has combo.
Right, but if you're looking at the Armory deck alone, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 cards.
Yeah, so far. I'm gonna put more.
Sure. I mean, if you want to build a combo version, go right ahead. I do love Ancestral Harmony, don't get me wrong. I'm just the worst at flipping cards off of it because, I mean, reasons.
Never mind. You just reminded me the same reason I don't play Brute is probably the same reason I shouldn't play Ancestral Harmony.
I would always flip Chi off of Ancestral Harmony. That's what I would flip off of Ancestral Harmony. So there's that. Or I would flip another Ancestral Harmony or an Art of War. I was really good at all of those. We're just going to move into listener questions now. What do you think?
I think that's fine because we have a lot of them.
We do. We have several. The first one's from Rogue Noob. Something you said in the last episode made me think. I don't do that often. Congrats. Fair. What are the chances that LSS was planning to do Monarch 3 for this fall and Super Slam for the following set, but they had already had Montreal booked for the world premiere, and someone said something along the lines of, sure, but Montreal's screw job, and they just decided to switch them? I would say roughly 0%. They made the... James White said something about Monarch 3 not being this year quite a while ago. And so I think that the intention was always that it was going to be the probably the first set of 2026. I do think that they picked Montreal because it was going to be Super Slam Worlds or Super Slam premiere. But I don't think that they had already had Montreal locked and then decided to switch anything up. That doesn't make any sense to me. Do you want to tinfoil hat this Charmer?
Here's my thoughts. Okay, are you ready?
Sure.
Vince McMahon killed Owen Hart.
Okay. Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
All right. So follow up.
I'm okay.
LSS, I need you to print a resurrected Shadow Rune Blade named Owen the Heartless.
Okay, that's too much. That's way too much.
You know that's perfect.
That's way too much.
So perfect.
Okay. I mean, Owen Hart would have died in 98.
Yeah.
So I guess we're over the 25-year threshold.
Yeah, man. Owen Hart died before the second tower fell. We're fine.
Well, you see, we're still outside the 25 years for that one. That's next year. So then 9/11 can start being lampooned a little bit easier. But I still remember that shit, and Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's a lot. I'm just trying to think here, like, how can I even like, do you think Vince McMahon would have killed Owen Hart because Brett wouldn't play ball? What's your angle here?
Kurt.
Great. Because Kurt did win a gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
Right.
All right. I'm moving on. This is just going to get worse if I keep going.
Mm-hmm,
Next one's from Zaris. This is a dumb question that my roommates and I had a super in-depth conversation about for some reason. If the Muppets / Sesame Street played Fab, who would play what? Our top picks were Oscar and Olympia because both are trash. Nice. Scooter plays OG Dash but hasn't changed anything since Arc because he thinks she was perfect then. Okay. And finally, the obvious, Statler and Waldorf are the casters. Thoughts? Okay, so first things first, we've all sat around and smoked copious amounts of marijuana and had these types of discussions. This is not that out of bounds, but it does usually require a lot of weed. That being said, being completely, I'm drinking a little bit, but mostly stone sober. I'm trying to think through this a little bit, and Prism is Big Bird. Big Bird plays Prism. Because Snuffleupagus being the imaginary friend, like Big Bird likes illusions.
Yeah. I would like to point out
the Count plays Chain. We know that one.
Sure. One shackle.
See, you get it.
I was gonna say Miss Piggy plays Betsy.
Oh yeah. That is 100% true.
Kermit plays Reinar, but rolls scabs every turn whether he needs it or not, and every time that he fails, he says, "It's not easy being green."
Sure. Gonzo played Zen. What does Animal play? Wouldn't Animal play Reinar? Oh no, plays KO. He beats Chest, right?
Yeah.
He plays KO. And he's the drummer from Def Leppard. He's only got one arm. Let me think. Who else should get involved in all this nonsense?
Elmo.
Bunsen.
This might be a hot take. Elmo plays Arachne Huntsman.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sure.
Because he likes to tickle people.
Bunsen and Beaker are not playing this game until Lena Bell gets a hero card. Well, sorry, they say that, but Beaker actually does play and just played Azalea because he just wanted to give people poxes. Who else are we missing?
Bert and Ernie.
Oh, yeah. Bert and Ernie. What would Bert and Ernie play? Bravo.
Yep. That's it. I was waiting
Bravo.
No, one plays Bravo.
One
The other
plays Starvo.
only plays Star of the Show.
Right. Yeah.
Because gay icons play gay icons.
That's right. Bert only plays Starvo. Ernie plays Bravo and Starvo, whatever feels like it. Yeah, it makes sense. That tracks. Got any others? I think that about covers what I can think of.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
I don't think Fozzie has a specific.
He's a Yorick.
Maybe.
I was trying to remember what the Eagle's name was.
Oh Christ!
And I was very ashamed I couldn't remember it.
There's Gonzo, Fozzie, Rolf. Who does Rolf play? That's a good question.
Gravy Bones.
You think Rolf plays Gravy Bones?
Yep.
Why?
Because he wants to run as many copies of Scuba as he can. Because he's a good boy.
We're just trying to figure the dog. You're just trying to link some dogs up. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah. He's the kind of actually that might be a Fozzie thing. Fozzie's the kind of person that would play Gravy Bones, and then he would drop 3 scubas on you and be like, "Who let the dogs out?"
Yeah, that's 1,000% what Fozzie would do. Okay. And then Rolf becomes the Yorick player. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm satisfied with these answers. We're moving on. Next one's from Quiet Mind 42. If LSS never released another hero, who would be the last one to reach Living Legend? We'll take this as CC only.
So there goes my Brevant answer.
Yep, can't take Brevant or Professor Teklavasen. My answer, God, it almost has to be Huntsman.
See, here's the funny thing. My answer is also Huntsman, but probably for a different reason than you.
Mine is because I think that they just say, fuck it, we're not going to support Contract. We're just going to keep supporting Stealth.
Sure, but Contract... Well, so my assumption based on this question was that it's just as is.
I mean, as is, sure.
Like as is heroes with no future support. And so my answer is Huntsman because... So the other thing this question says is the last one to Living Legend. Not the last one left. So technically you're looking at who is second place. So I think that Arachne goes over Betsy.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
I do.
Nah.
I love her to death.
Guardian support is so much better than Warrior support.
Yeah, but even just like actually being able to play the fridge is probably better than any of Betsy's like actual specializations. Like the wager thing for her just does not have good support. And the other thing that you have to factor into this again as things roll through is as other heroes Living Legend, what weapon is she gonna use?
True. She does end up Talasharing probably.
Right.
But no, so Titan's Fist is not tied to any hero.
Is it not? Oh, okay. No. So, okay, she has Titan's Fist, but...
I mean, that's better than what the Warrior would have.
No, you've got, what is it, the Scorcher and the blocking one?
Hot Streak,
and
Harry Blade?
Harry Blade, yeah.
Yeah, not good.
I mean, it's on par with Titan's Fist, bro. Come on.
Maybe.
Titan's Fist can't even block. Checkmate.
You know what? You got me. You're right. Titan's Fist can't block once.
Yep.
But I think a Titan's Fist plus a fucking Rotten Buckler is better than fucking Parry Blade and Hot Streak. And because we're talking about Olympia trying to use that shit. Ugh. No. Hard pass. Next one's from Charlie, resident HP1 enjoyer. Only because the fucker pulled a Marvel Viscera in front of me. Do Flesh and Pod stickers exist by chance? Would love to be able to rep the pod. Happy to pay donate to donate to charity. 2 things out of this one. First one, yes, Flesh and Pod stickers do exist. I forget that they're in my bag often, and I am starting to run a little low. And we'll need to get some more printed, but they're, Flesh and Pod stickers. They do exist. Second thing, I think this calls to what I love about our little community, our band of misfits. The first thing on there is pay/donate to charity, which is perfect. The pay part couldn't care less. The donate to charity part gets me every single time. That just comes to mind when you think about what would drive us and what drives you, and it's donating to a good cause. That makes me excited and happy that we have, good people that want to help out in any way they can, especially those less fortunate that listen to our show and are part of our community. So thank you very much for that. I will make sure next time I'm around, which I'm pretty sure Charlie will be in KC or will definitely be in Philly. And I'll make sure I have stickers on me then, but thank you very much again for the support in general and for the even just the notion that you'd be willing to donate to to a good cause to make me get off my dumb ass and make more get more stickers made. I do appreciate that. Because he's one of the Channel Lake, Michigan guys. So I would imagine would definitely be in Philly. Right?
I mean, I hope so.
All right. Next one is from Blaze Storm, valued member of the Patreon. Off topic, have you guys played any more Altered? I remember you mentioning being part of the Kickstarter, and I have been super curious about it recently. Play patterns look fun as hell. Truth be told, no. I cracked a box of it that I had, a Kickstarter box of it, just to see, okay, what does this stuff do? And there is a community starting to grow locally for me, but it just didn't exist for the longest time until one of the people that runs games at the LGS, specifically they run Universes, was at Minneapolis during SCG Con, and they were demoing Altered. He went and played it and kind of fell in love with it. So he started wanting to, somebody with influence towards what comes into the store product wise, and could, set up nights at the LGS to play, got into it. And so that's starting to kick up now locally. So it'd be something that I might hop into every now and again, but time is also a dwindling resource in most cases, for most weeks. So I don't know that I'll find a lot of time. In my times that I have played, it's a very fun board game. That's my take on Altered. Is it and Sorcery, I think, are both very fun, but they strike me more as board games than TCGs. Mostly in the, I think people, they don't feel as competitive in most cases. They feel like it's something you kind of sit down and do with friends. This isn't a knock, by the way, that you sit down and just do with friends to kind of have some fun. It's not something that you're traveling across the world to go do necessarily. There are people that do that for Sorcery specifically, and probably for Altered too. But that's just not how the game strikes me. Both are fun, but they don't fulfill my competitive urge. Did you play any more at Charmer, or same?
So we treat it kind of what you were just describing as like a board game. I opened 2 boxes from the Kickstarter. Stark and I have some decks built that we play here at home. We don't go to like events locally, just because there was a small group that was doing it downtown on Saturdays for a bit, but the core of the group is like on the east side of the state as you get closer to Detroit. And so for us to make it to anything, it either has to be a weekend event or I have to have a day off or whatever, just to be able to drive there in time, like before it starts. So yeah, I mean, we just kind of treat it like a board game, but that's also fine, and it's still a lot of fun. The play patterns are really neat, and I do really enjoy, kind of like it does it in a different way, but kind of like Flesh and Blood, the end states of a lot of games of Altered is this state of dual tension. And I just really enjoy that part of the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. The same thing with Sorcery too. I mean, it's that same end game states of Sorcery, and that's. But again, and that's, I thought that Flesh and Blood early when I first started felt kind of board gamey too, mainly because of the hero aspect more than anything. The hero and identity aspect. You sit down to play. You sit down to play Betrayal at the House on the Hill, and you probably have your favorite character, right? Yeah. Same kind of thing here, but obviously it's expanded quite a bit since then. The game has changed a lot, but ultimately, I originally thought that Flesh and Blood would appeal more to board gamers, and largely it has, in locally at least. But next one's from Matt Reed. So with this wrestling inspired set, will there be a test of strength where you actually have to arm wrestle your opponent? I'm going to say no. I'll offer it to anybody that wants to, but I'm gonna say probably not. I mean, if you've looked, Carolina is absolutely yoked now, and arm wrestling Carolina would be a struggle.
I mean, this is where I throw out my hot take, but always has been.
Well, you'll tear another shoulder or whatever. You can't do shit.
She's I mean, she's a carny.
She is a carny. I don't know where that's going.
No, that's it. Like,
That's the note.
I'm just saying, don't arm wrestle her. She'll take your money.
And your arm. But you would tear something. You'd probably actually tear your groin arm wrestling. That's the fucked thing.
My concerns are actually in the other direction, because like the very first time I ever met Carolina, I watched somebody else almost kill her because they
I was in the room.
Yeah,
I remember.
They weren't doing what I was doing.
Carolina doesn't remember.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, I get it. Last question is from Sephiroth. It's a would you rather. Would you rather play one of each CC Legal Wizard back-to-back for the first 3 rounds of a calling and then not play Wizard again for the rest of the event, or play Prism twice in a row for your winning into top 8?
Wizard.
Slam dunk Prism twice in a row.
Slam dunk Wizard.
Okay.
I get to start an event 3-0, and then I don't have to worry about Wizards for the rest of it. Versus losing back-to-back win-ins to not make.
I get it. And if it's like, all I have to do is play Prism twice in a row and win one of them to get into a top 8, I would just learn Vincent and go do the thing.
But if all you have to do is play 3 Wizards, you would just let me teach you Assassin, and the joy. But then you
still have to win another 4 matches on day 1 and then get through day 2 to have a shot at top 8. Otherwise, I have to win against Prism.
Okay, but you're missing the most important part. You get to play Assassin in my scenario.
Sure. To me, that's not a feature or a bug. It's just indifference. Like, that's it.
I'll take the Wizard.
All right. I mean, I will let you have the Wizard. I will try to go 500 against Prism. That's fine. I'm okay with this. Let me double check the listener question tab here, just in case there was something. He also had a would you rather that I'm not going to read on air. We'll save that for After Dark. There was another After Dark one. Yeah, I think we're good. Easy, clean, in and out. Just no notes. You got anything else, or should we thank some patrons?
I think we should probably thank some patrons.
All right, let's do that. For our associate producers, we have Aladoris, Andy, Anthony, Sindra, Izor, Jacob, Quiet Goat, and Sofsky. For our executive producers on up, we have Blaze Storm, value member of the Patreon, Diana, the Green Cosplayer, John, Micaiah, Puxana, Sergeant Isbjorn, Vintox18, the Delusian Data Analyst, and Philip, and for the Chamber of Charcoal, Brandon, great job coming on a few weeks ago. Matt has lapped the field, can come back on again, was the first, and I think he's excited about trying, give it another shot. The Jackal, again, thank you very much for your support. Polish Guy Rich, always a pleasure. New to the Chamber of Charcoal, the next victim is Zaris, has entered the Chamber of Charcoal. So it looks like this is July. So September-ish is when Zaris will become eligible to grace us with their presence on the program. So welcome to the 7th level. And is it the 7th level? Fuck it, I don't remember.
Hey, if you're listening, Greg, I just want you to know I am receiving the TikToks that you are sending me as we record this at 11:19 at night.
Sure. If you're interested in becoming a member of our Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Links in the show notes. There are 7 tiers to choose from. Pick one. Any paid one gets you in a FAP After Dark. I think we're going to gun for next week. But I don't know for sure yet. Kind of just depends on a number of things. As we've already described in this show, we're just busy as shit. And so it makes it really hard. But we will gun for it and try to get that set up. If you need to contact the show at all, you can send us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. If you want to find us on socials, you can just search Flesh and Pod on BlueSky. If the best thing to do, if you want to get a hold of any of us or talk with the community that we have here, just join the Discord. Links in the show notes. Free to do. Just click it, do the thing, hop on in, and have a good time. That's it. That's really all you got to do. Darick, where can they find you?
In the Discord, chuckling in my Chuckles with Charmer channel.
I can't believe I made that for you.
Blue sky, except for today where the sky was nothing but smoke from the neighbor.
Yeah.
You know where they can actually find me, and they might even find you as well. On this YouTube channel on a live, since we've done a couple now, so maybe subscribe. You listened all the way to the end. You're still listening now. Hit the button.
I went into the Chuckles channel, and I don't know why I do this to myself.
I know why you do it.
Huh. Okay. I'm already done. I read a Reddit post. I shouldn't ever do that. But I guess that's our show now, right?
Yeah.
They should definitely join the YouTube lives though, because it's a lot of fun. Basically the last one was great because we just had a conversation with Kiki about wrestling, and Loose Leaf Tea just vibing. For most of it, we had a few people also in and out just to talk and hang out, so it's always a good time. I think Makai even showed up for a little bit, but we'll be doing more of those. Just kind of stay tuned. But thank you all for watching or listening or whatever you feel like doing, and we'll be back next week for 190. It's the countdown is on, so appreciate the support. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.